Hi, I'm Helen from Haberdasher and today I'm going to show you how to make reusable face cloths which are an ideal alternative to using cotton wool pads. Okay, so we've got this lovely bamboo toweling in the shop at the moment, which is very thin, which is ideal for these so it's not too bulky when you're sewing. So I'm going to use that, and what I've done is I've cut out some squares in different cottons, poplins that we've got in the shop. The size that I've done is 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches, which is 12 centimetres approximately. You can use a quilter's template, which I also have, which is the same size, but either way, again, you can make it bigger if you want to. So once we've cut them out, it's just a matter of putting them together and sewing them. So we get a choice, and we need to put the right sides together and then pin them together. Which I've done here, ready to take over to the machine. I'm using a contrasting thread just for purposes for you to see where we're sewing, and we're going to sew all the way around the edges, but we need to leave an opening here to turn it out so that we've got the right side out. So with my machine, I'm just going to use my markings here, just roughly about that. The seam guide I'm using for my hem allowance is just going to be my foot lined up with the side of the fabric. So you just need to start a little stitch, do a reverse lock stitch, or if you've got the lock stitch button, lock it in. When you get to the corner, just pivot the fabric round, and we're just going to sew down all of these. If you use a thicker toweling, you might need to use a walking foot just because there might be some slippage on the sewing on both sides. And we're coming up to the last one. So you can see where we started here. We just need to come in a little bit further on here. Reverse your stitch, or if you've got a lock stitch, lock your stitch in. And then we're going to snip that threads off. So that's all sewn round, but left an opening at the bottom there. Take out your pins. And then what we need to do is just cut the corners off, just because otherwise when we turn it out that's really bulky. So just make careful not to cut the stitching. Just cut out the bulk of the corner. These Fiskars snips are great for that. They're really sharp and get to the point. And then we're going to turn it right sides out. Now obviously if you've used a light thread, you might see some of the purple thread that I've used, but I say that is just so you can see. You can use a point turner, but go carefully into the corners and just push out all the fabric, going along the edges. Careful as you go, that you don't poke through the fabric, and then where it's been left open, it will roll in, you see, and you just want to line that up. You can pop a pin in here and then take it over to your ironing board. Just making sure that the seams are tucked in. Just give it a little press. And then back to your machine. And what we've got to do here is we've got to sew up the opening. So we're going to top stitch all the way around a very thin seam allowance, just so you're catching in the toweling underneath, but also sealing off that bit. So just start a little bit above the opening. Lock it in and then sew. And I've got a foot that you can see through, so just keeping it as narrow as you can, but you're getting both fabrics through. When you get to the corner, sometimes it's a little bit bulky. If you've got a foot pedal that's got the little button in, you might need to just push that in and up just to stop it, because you can't sew uphill. And just let it gradually feed through. When you get to the corner again, keep the needle down, turn your work, and then let the machine go slowly and it'll just feed it through. And as I say, I've used a contrast for you to see, but obviously if you want to use something that doesn't show up, but you can use a bright colour and have a contrast if you'd like. And then just coming around to the last one, and then it'll meet up with your original point, and then just reverse over that just to lock in the stitch. Snipping off your edges. And there we go. Lovely reusable face cloth. So obviously here we can see where we've used the thread that just matches in with your fabric and you don't see it. But as I say, it's personal preference to what you want to do, but just for the purpose of being able to see it. And there we go.